Hey everyone, welcome back to the Table Talk, and today for episode 3. Whoa, I butchered that. What? Try that again. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Table Talk for episode 3. I'm Addison, and today I'm here with
Kaleb, Marsico.
Caleb. Do you care to introduce yourself a little bit more?
I was a senior at Greenwood High School. I played soccer and I was the mascot. If anybody didn't know that. And that's about all.
So, you told me a little bit about how you moved recently. So, can you tell me what it was like growing up in a different state and what all you did as a kid?
So I lived in Amarillo, Texas. I was born and raised there. I lived there all the way up until I was 17. I went to Canyon ISD, which is just a little town south of Amarillo. I went to City View all 4 years of elementary school, and then I went to Greenways, then Westover, then Randall. Um, Made a lot of friends along the way. Um, it was a blast. I played soccer at the local high school. We made playoffs 2 out of the 3 years I was there. I played on JV the first 2 years, and then my last year was cut short because I had to move. But um, I did have a lot of fun at Randall. I could compare it a lot to Greenwood. It was a nice school. A lot of the kids they share similarities here with the kids here in Greenwood, so that was something nice. It was an easy transition for me. So
You said you were 17 when you moved?
yeah, I was 17.
So how did you? Because that's a little later on in life. Like at that
Senior
point, you
year.
kind of have
Yeah,
like
I
all
had
your
my
friendships and everything built. So how did you feel moving from Texas to Greenwood, Arkansas?
So I'm not gonna lie. I thought Arkansas was a little bit of a weird place to move to. I was like, there's nothing in Arkansas. I'd always made that joke as a
Yeah,
kid. Like we would
I mean Arkansas always gets the short end of the stick. Like you see all those like TikTok map
yeah,
videos. And it's like
yeah.
Arkansas. Like it's
What is this
always
place? I remember
what they got going
there was a
on.
meme when I was younger about like a foreign lady talking about
Yeah.
Kansas and Arkansas, and she's like, "But why is there Arkansas?" And I, it was just like mind blowing to me because my parents had always talked about moving here because my
Yeah.
dad's job was going to take him here anyways later on, but we didn't think it was going to be like this early on. And
Right.
so my ultimatum was to either stay in Texas and finish out high school there and live with my grandmother, or stay with my family, and move here. So I was like, family is most important.
Right.
And I just decided like, why not? Like let's go have some fun. Let's see what's in store for me in Arkansas.
So what were those major changes with schooling when you moved? Like different than the way that they did things there
It was a
versus in
it was a
Arkansas?
lot different. So this may be a little like nitpicky of me, but the way they kind of have their classes set up, um, I had already taken all of my readings. Like I took AP. It was AP Lang my
Oh,
junior year, and they made me take AP Lit my senior year. So I
yeah.
was with a bunch of juniors, and that was kind of like a distraction to me because they're still younger and they're still full of energy. So it was kind of like I don't want to be in here kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like it was almost flipped because I had to take civics too, and civics is a bunch of freshmen, so
Yeah.
that was also pretty hard. But I had to take a bunch of basics here for some reason, like a bunch of like required credits, and it was just. I mean, it wasn't different, but like the class sizes and all that were the same, and like the people, were relevantly close to how they were in Texas. But it was just kind of random this
Like just
year.
the
Yeah, it
requirements
was just randomness this
here.
year. Yeah, because I would
Yeah.
have like civics one period, then I'd have AP Lit the next period, but then like the period after that, I'd have like Keystone. So
Yeah.
it was just
See, that's
weird.
kind of how my schedule will be this year. Like
Yeah,
I have all my stuff done and
yeah.
I can't just go for an hour and leave for the one class that I need.
Hmm.
You know, unfortunately it doesn't work like that. So my whole schedule is concurrent classes
Oof,
and dance, and that's
oof.
just about it. Which I
No,
mean,
no
I do
free
have the
time.
early. I get it. I always mess it up.
Early
It's
release.
late
Yeah.
arrival, early release.
I had both. I had late arrival and I had early release.
But when football and basketball season are at its peak,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just have to sit there
Really?
before we leave because I
Oh.
live 15
Oh,
minutes away
okay.
from the school, so
Yeah.
I can't just like
Go
go
home.
home and take a nap and then
That's how it was for
come
me.
back.
Yeah, I'd have to like hang out in the school parking lot for 15 minutes to let school get out, and then I'd go to soccer practice and then go to work. I wouldn't get to go home because
Yeah,
I live out by Jack Nolan, so
yeah.
it was a
And then
drive.
having to get there like right in time for that parking lot fills up
Yeah,
in the morning. I mean, I'll be in a different lot, but
yeah.
that's fine. So, what were like the struggles from moving from state to state?
Um, I kind of had to leave everything in Texas. It
Yeah.
was kind of like a fresh start. I didn't really need one like that, but um, I mean, I had to make a whole new group of friends. I had to meet a ton of new people, and I had such a short period of time to do it. It was hard at first, but the transition was easy because I met people like Hudson and Brayson and all them, and they got me accustomed to a
That was
lot.
actually what I was going to ask you
Yeah,
next. Who were specific people at Greenwood that really welcomed you with open arms at the
um,
school?
mostly everybody on the soccer team. I remember meeting my first day, actually my first day in Greenwood. I moved here on June 1st, and or it was the very next day I went. Um, I was getting accustomed to living at the new home, and then
Mm-hmm.
Hudson Meeker texts me on Instagram, and he's like, "Yo, come to Gino's. It's a local pizza place nearby. They got the best pizza in the 479." I'm like,
Was he
"Oh,
working there at that point?
no," I can't remember if he was working there or not. He was working there, but he wasn't on the clock. He was just like
Yeah.
hanging out. And I went there, and I met Kaylor Jasna, Landon Nelms, Paul Brixey, and Cash Owenby.
Uh huh.
And I was like, man, I'm sticking out like a sore thumb. These guys are huge. Like I look like a little twink, man. Like, ugh. But they were all so nice. They were all so open and accepting. They were like,
Yeah.
man, this like I can't even imagine how you feel right now. And I was like, I'm chilling, man. I'm actually excited to meet y'all, like, because this is giving me a chance. This is the opportunity I wanna
Yeah.
have. And they it was Hudson. Hudson introduced me to pretty much everybody that I know now. He's the reason why me and Brayson are best friends. I got to meet people like Grace and everybody else just around those other people too. So I'd go and hang out with Brayson and meet his friends like Jaden and Lane. It was
So, did
really
you
good.
already plan on trying out for soccer last year, or
Yeah,
was that something that was?
yeah. So weirdly enough, before I even moved here, I was still in Texas playing soccer because our
Yeah.
season is a little later than y'all's, or
Huh.
the season here. Um, we finished in around, or no, it's earlier. We finished in around like March, and y'all start conference in March, which is weird for me at least. But
Hey, at least it's not hot down there at that point,
yeah,
because I mean,
it's
Arkansas heat is
freezing
kind of
cold.
brutal.
Like that was what it was. That's what was different. Was like
Yeah.
playing soccer in Texas. Like you would play in the absolute freezing cold, and like all you could wear was your little like the underneath.
Like
Yeah,
the sleep
yeah, the
things.
stretch. Yeah, you could wear that on your arms and your legs, and that's all you could wear. You couldn't wear gloves. You couldn't wear anything on your head, and it was so bad because I played JV my freshman and sophomore year, and when I was doing that, it was cold because you'd have to
Mm-hmm.
sit there for the varsity game and hope to get subbed in so you weren't freezing your tail end off. But that was different moving here. Was that it was hot. It was
Yeah.
always hot during soccer season. But back to the like the whole. I did plan on playing soccer when I first moved here. I kind of contemplated it. I was like, I don't know. I kind of just want to like chill out my senior year and just
Yeah, that's understandable.
stick to the basics. But then Hudson, so actually lived in Texas. Coach Woods had contacted my mom.
Really?
Yes, and he was like, "Hey, I heard you have a soccer player. Like, do you want to meet some of the players?" Like, and then he started emailing me, and he was asking me a bunch of questions. I was like, "Yeah, I'm a right back." Blah 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 blah. You know, I gave him my weight, my height. Told him, I played for like 8 years, something like that. He was like, "Cool. Well, we're excited to have you in Arkansas." It's like, "Awesome, cool. I have something to look forward to now." And then, like the very next day, Hudson Meeker adds me on Snap. I'm still in Texas. And I'm getting these snaps, and he's making like a Cinderella run in soccer, and I'm like, I'm in love with this team now. Like, I don't care what's going on in Texas
Yeah.
anymore. I want this team to go and win. And I remember everybody was snapping me from that night or they had that last Greenbrier game, last game of their
Yeah.
conference.
Isn't that like the hardest team that they play? Or who?
No,
Which one is that?
Russellville. Russellville is like
Really?
the hardest team.
Huh.
We always lose to Russellville. It's always like 7-1,
So then
7-0.
is Greenbrier like
Greenbrier is
one of
like
the harder
us.
ones?
Greenbrier is like us. Like it's back and
So
forth.
that's okay. Was that the team that y'all played senior night? Or did y'all play Greenbrier at
Oh,
Greenbrier that
was
week?
the yeah? It was Greenbrier. It was Greenbrier who played senior night. Um, because that's the last home game of the
Yeah.
regular season. Yeah, we did play Greenbrier that game. That was the toughest game on me mentally. There was a lot at stake. Like it was their playoff run versus our playoff run. I had
Yeah.
never been to playoffs. I really, really wanted this game. Like I really wanted to win, and it started all the way back in Mountain Home. When did you? What game did you go to?
Well, we're gonna get to that part in the
Yeah,
soccer, like
yeah,
in the soccer topic,
yeah.
but because there's a little background to why I was at that game,
Okay,
kind of. But we can go ahead and feed into that. So let's start by you telling me a little bit more about how you started playing soccer and what
okay.
drew your attention to it.
So I've been playing like little league, like with a bunch of my buddies and stuff
Yeah.
earlier on in life, and then as soon as junior high came around, I tried out for the junior high team. I made the team, and I had a lot of fun doing that. I met some of my closest friends doing that, and it was kind of like a turning moment because like I didn't really see myself doing any sports or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that, and I had met some people like Amel and Danny. Like they were really good guys. So I was like, I want to stick around these guys. I want to keep playing. And I ended up eighth grade was my COVID year. So I missed out on my eighth grade season, and so I tried out my freshman year, made the team, and played on JV at the Randall Raiders, black and silver, and that's pretty much just I kept playing until there on, and it's just here I am now. I mean, trying to go and play at UFIS, and hopefully go play at UCA next year, but that's the goal right now.
So how did you see the team last year function as a team? Because I remember, I think it was the playoff game that y'all played
Against
one
Lakeside,
early morning. Yeah, it was that game. I remember Miss Clark in
really?
financial literacy playing it, and we were like locked in the whole hour watching
Yes.
that. But how have you seen the team function as a team? Because I know there's a big difference in boys being on a team and girls being on a team
Yeah.
because girls get into all that drama and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So
Yeah, you
how
know.
do y'all ever have those moments where it's like, oh, I really don't want to speak to you, and like how do you
Yeah, there was definitely
bring it
moments like
back
that.
in?
So you could have your little drama, but you had to keep it outside of soccer. Like that is what
Yeah,
everybody did. Nobody wanted to hear about it. That's just why nothing ever started because like nobody had the time
nobody
for it.
cares
Yeah,
that much about
exactly.
it.
Like
Yeah,
we're while we're working out, we don't want to hear you complain about your girl drama or your boy drama or this and that or
yeah,
your best friend is talking behind your back. Like we didn't want to hear about it. So that's kind of what kept it real, um, like almost like a safe area. Like you could like go to soccer and just forget about everything for a little
yeah,
bit. And that was what was really nice for me is like if I was worrying about grades or anything like that, like people outside of soccer, like I could go to soccer and hang out with my buddies there and just know that it was all going to be all right in the end. But the way the team functioned when I first moved here, there were a lot of ifs. A lot of ifs on who was going to play where and who was going to start and all that.
yeah.
And eventually, coach moved me to left back, which isn't much of a difference, but
Now is that just like the same thing but on the
yeah,
left side of the field?
on the opposite side of the field, yeah. Um, and I remember it was going to be me, Carson, Alex, and Bodie playing in the back. Coach completely flipped that. He's like, Bodie, striker. Carson got hurt. He tore his I think it was his Achilles. It was something in
Oh,
his
I thought it was
leg.
his knee. I don't
It was
know.
something in his ankle. He went for a slide tackle in our Hebner
Oh
game
yeah.
and it hurt himself. But then it was Brayson and whole like I was never sure how the team was going to
Every
function.
time you mention Brayson and Hudson, and shout out to y'all if y'all are listening to this. But the picture of is it Brayson squeezing the water like the water
Yes,
bottle in his
yes,
mouth
I
and
posted it on
Hudson
my
standing there
story.
like he's
Yes,
dying? Oh my gosh.
yes. I remember posting that, and everybody was like, "What a great picture!" And it was, I mean, I never knew how the team was going to function
Yeah.
because coach was always changing something. But at the very beginning of the season, we play a different ball in Texas. We play bunker ball. It's like you sit back. Like if you score, you hold possession until the end of the game. So it's a really boring game of soccer. You don't try to attack that much. But here it's just straight full on attack. Like if you get a chance, you go try to score every time. If they get a chance, you try to defend as hard as possible. And I honestly like that version of soccer more,
Mm.
but I mean, as you progress and become pro or semi-pro, it's going to become bunker ball where you're going to try to play tiki taka and keep away from each other. But that was what was kind of weird for me when I first moved here because like I would hold the ball and everybody would be like, "Yo, pass me the ball, pass me the ball." I'm like, "Chill out, slow down. Like we're up like 2-0. We don't need to go score again. Let's ease the work a bit." And Um, I eventually started getting into the groove of you know playing their sport or playing their version of it, and
Mm-hmm.
that was what was. I kind of had more fun doing it too because it was like you were always doing something. You were always either on defense or you're always on
Yeah.
offense. And I actually got my first ever assist in my career this year doing that. His coach was like, everybody up. Like we don't want anybody in the backfield, and I took the kick and it went right to Tucker's feet and he scored and I was like, that was great. I love that. It was like the adrenaline was just going crazy.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of the. Did you know the? You remember the Greenwood tournament? Did you know about that? It was like in the middle of oh, when was it? It was like the first week of March, and it was super hot. And we were playing in like 90-degree heat. We had 4 games that day, and
Oh.
yeah, it was bad.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. I do remember that.
and
Yeah.
oh, I can't remember. Our last game was at like 5 o'clock, and it was like 96 degrees outside, and the coach was like, "Hey, just play 80 minutes of soccer. You get to go home, and then I won't call on you for another week. You know, it's gonna be all right." And we were out there dying, like we were playing Cossatot River. These kids were just talking back to us. They were like, "Man, it is too hot for this. Like, why did we sign up for this?" I don't know. I don't know, but
That's funny. Well, I remember so I never had watched like a legitimate soccer game. I had watched my younger siblings played the little like express league in Fort Smith, but they were like never got above like second or third grade before they quit.
right,
So I'm on the dance team at Greenwood. So our coach was like, other teams support other teams, and we went to go support for senior night. And before the game, I was like, how in the world does this work?
right,
I had no idea what I was
yeah,
walking into because obviously 17, 18-year-old players are going to play different than
little kids,
an 8-year-old
yeah.
would. So I got there and I was honestly kind of dreading the game. So like, it's hot. This is going to be boring. And I was like, okay, but it's Greenwood. It's going to be a good game, hopefully. And before I was talking with Anna Forbes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, show up to this game tonight so that I'm not like the only one here, you know. And she's like, okay. So she went, and honestly, I think that was a highlight of this year was going to that game because that was the make or break game for y'all going to playoffs and y'all made it, and then just everybody was so excited and everything. But I didn't know that like it was such an intense kind of thing because like with football you have people that rotate in and out,
Right,
where this it's
right.
like some of them
Yeah,
play
I played the whole.
90%
Yeah,
of the game.
I played the whole 90 minutes, and
Oh.
it was. And
No.
like that's the thing is like you look at that and you probably think that's terrible, but like once you're in it and once you're feeling all the emotions that come with it, like you forget about like
Yeah.
how your feet feel. Like if you got kicked in the shin, you don't feel it for until after the game. It's like your adrenaline is running that hard, and to key on the whole dreading going to a soccer game.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, like they think like soccer's boring, like because they watch the pros and the pros are kind of like that bunker ball. They play real slow and they don't really try to attack that much. Greenwood, oh my goodness. Greenwood is a dog fight. We were playing Greenbrier and it was just straight back and forth. They
Well,
have
how
some,
many players on the soccer team also play football?
not that many, you would think.
Really?
Not that many. I think the only upperclassmen are Bodie and Hudson. And that's it. And then all the freshmen do. All the freshmen play football because they played pit bulls and all that, and now they're trying to play soccer. But um, yeah, as far as like our starters go, only two of them do. But that's what's nice is having Hudson and Bodie, the big bodies. They're not afraid to hit somebody. Like they see that ball flying overhead and they see a guy in front of them. They're like, oh, I'm not gonna like hit him, but I'm gonna lay the
I'm gonna
pain
do
in it.
something
Yeah,
about it.
I'm gonna put my body on
Yeah.
it. You're like, go ahead, man, please, by all means, go score. That is how Bodie scored so many times this year. It's like shout out to Bodie. He's a big guy. He's a big guy, but he'll like he'll lower his shoulder and put some muscle against you, and you're like, whoa, like I'm not expecting. Like Bodie used to just body me at practice. Like I would just not even try against
That
him.
would be how I end up with every single bone in my body broken.
Yeah,
no, trying to and
that's the thing
soccer.
is like he's such a sweet guy too. Like he'll knock you over and he'll go, "Hey man, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm great, man. Thanks for checking up on me." And like Hudson is the same way. Hudson's like he's got two left feet. Like he stumbles. He's so like clumsy. And that's the thing is like you'll be running down the field with him, you'll take a tight turn like to stop the ball, and he'll just go flying. And
hey, I mean, he's not afraid of anything because there were several times I'd be in the trainers and he'd be in there with his turf burns.
Oh my god! I was hoping you were gonna say turf burns.
Let's put a bandage or something over that.
You can even like he's got turf burn all over the place, like his elbows, his back, his knees, his thigh. I'm like, dude, where are you even getting this turf burn from? I don't see you on the turf at all, man. It's like football, sometimes in soccer, like just a little bit of both, man. I'm like, you gotta be in like terrible pain, yeah? And he's like, I'm fine, bro.
Oh my gosh.
But it was nice having them on the team. Like they added to the morale in a sense. Yeah, they were the leaders. The seniors this year, like I didn't really have a major role in this since like nobody really knew me like that, but our seniors this year compared to last year had a major role in how the team succeeded. And like that was a really big maturing moment for me. Was like seeing like these lower classmen really do look up to these seniors. Like they are, and these seniors do truly care about these underclassmen. I had a couple of the underclassmen want to play defense, and they would always ask me like, "Hey Leb, can you help me work on my touch?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's not that hard. You just gotta kick a ball against the wall." Like, and they're, "Oh, okay, I'll go do that when I get home." And they'd come back the next day and it'd be 10 times better. Like,
yeah.
There was one kid named Riley Griffin, and he was a freshman this year. He couldn't kick a ball when he first started, but soon he started every single JV game, and coach is thinking about putting him on varsity next year. So he has been putting in that extra work, and that's what makes me happy leaving Greenwood.
Yeah.
Is that I know I'm leaving it in good hands. That it's not going to be just a dumpster fire when I leave.
Yeah. So, what words of advice would you leave for upcoming seniors that are on a team?
There's going to be a lot of them this year. You're just talking about overall in every sport?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if there's any specifics with soccer, go ahead, of course.
I mean, this goes for everyone. Never think that, there's always somebody that's going to look up to you. So just watch what you're always doing. Because if you're doing one thing at football or the sport you play and then you're doing another thing somewhere else, those younger kids are going to pick up on that. And you are one of the most influential people in their lives in that moment or in that season or year. For me, I didn't realize this until later on in the season that there were kids like, I don't know, there was Lucas and Fox Cotton and AJ Sangsaton or whatever his last name is. they really did care what we thought about them.
Mm.
And they would always, like, again, they would always ask us for advice. And so it was like, I wanted to help them out as much as I possibly could, because they have another 4 years and I'm almost done. So it was
Leave
like,
what you know with
exactly,
those that are going to be
exactly.
you.
And so, like, it was like, now that I realize it, it was closer towards the end of the season. I really didn't care about, making playoffs or anything like that. It was more of me leaving good advice for these kids so they can do something better than I could have ever done.
Yeah.
And that was what was eye opening for me, because I saw these kids taking my advice and they were actually getting better, and like, it made me feel good, because it made me feel noticed. And I feel like that's just what every person, every upperclassman should do, is just, work with those underclassmen and just be like,
Yeah.
hey, like, we're a team. Like, we just need to improve as a team. Like, I'll tell you things you don't know, and you can tell me things I don't know, and we can just work off of each other.
The scene that, mainly seniors, the scene that they set is the scene that
Yeah.
freshmen, sophomores, and even juniors portray for the next year. And if I'm going into dance with a terrible attitude and not putting in any effort, people watching are going to pick up on that and be like,
Yep.
oh, well, that's kind
Exactly.
of how we flow, and that's what is normalized.
Yep.
But in reality, we have to watch every single little move like that, because just like you said, like, they pick up on the little piece of advice that you give and they apply it, and it's this massive change, not
And
just with themselves but with the team.
I can add on to that. That's how it was for me in Texas my junior year. Was that we didn't have a great start, and the seniors kind of pooped out on us.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me because I cared so much, but I was seeing that these other kids, like, were kind of just, they were like, it's whatever, it's over now. Like, it's, we're done. The seniors kind of accepted defeat and was like, why? Like, why do that? You still have a fighting chance. I mean, we had to win out because we had lost like our first 3 or 4, but like, we still have a chance. Like, there's no reason we shouldn't keep on going. And coming into this year, I was like, I'm not gonna let that happen. It looked rough at the beginning because we started a conference with Russellville and Van Buren. So that was a little rough, but then we got our first win against Harrison, and that was kind of a little breath of fresh air, breath of life. And we went and lost Siloam, tied Mountain Home. It was looking rough. It was looking rough. It was looking really rough. And we ended the first round robin in fourth place. Yep, just the very last spot in playoffs. And um, everybody was kind of getting down in the dumps about it. They were like, we got a tougher schedule coming back because these Mountain Home kids are going to really want that playoff spot. Same with these Greenbrier kids and all that. Because we tied Greenbrier our first round robin, and we were supposed to win. We went up 3-0 or 3-1. And everybody got really kind of, I wouldn't say cocky. They got up and they got really confident. They got big heads, and Greenbrier came back and tied us. And so that kind of killed everything that was there about playoffs for some people. But it was the seniors that said, hey, let's slow down, let's think. Like, it was Brandon Costin, actually. He had a love and a drive for soccer that nobody I've ever met has. And he kept saying, like, if we're just doing what we're doing and we consistently get better, we're going to make playoffs. Like, we're going to be able to do this. And this was the year. Like, everybody had said, like, this is the year. If Greenwood does anything in soccer, like,
it's going to be now.
Yeah, it's going to be now. Because Coach Woods had never been to playoffs for as long as he's been here. The last time he went to playoffs was with BB. And he was like, guys, like, not that I want this for me, I really do, but I also want this for y'all.
Yeah.
I want you group of kids to go to playoffs because y'all are the most special group of kids I've ever coached. And I remember closer towards the end, he started handing us scriptures and he wanted us to memorize them. And it was like a kind of a drive for me, because it was like teaching me, like, don't play with anger, but play with, your heart, and play with some drive, and give meaning, give give it some meaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was really good for the team. I think that's what really helped us because it we all unified around one cause, and it was like let's just go do this. Let's go take care of business, and like let's see how this goes. And that was the real turning point for us is that we won 4 out of 7 of the games we or no we won 3 out of 6 of the games because we tied Harrison second round robin, but that pushed us into the playoffs eventually. And
Right.
again, just with the whole team bonding thing, coach had us all sit down together the night before the playoff game, and he had us ask each other one question. He was like, "What's your favorite memory of playing soccer or playing in the Greenwood soccer program?" And it was just great hearing everybody's stories, and like I think that just made us tighter as not even a group, but like a family. Because
Yeah.
like it was I had never been a part of anything like that, and it was like it was almost it was a different feeling. It was like I don't want to see any of these guys. You know,
It's more like you cared about the people more than the actual
yeah.
concept.
I didn't care for the game anymore. I cared for these kids. I wanted
Yeah.
Brandon and Tucker and Bodie and Alex. I wanted them to succeed because like I came here to play for them. That's what I had
Yeah.
finally realized. Like I didn't want to play for myself anymore. I wanted to play for them. I wanted to leave everything out there for them. And because I know these kids have been working so hard for 4 years to make a playoff game, and I was like, I'm gonna do the same then. And so that was super awesome that I could, you know, deliver for them like that.
That's cool. Well, changing gears here. Yeah, I genuinely want to know what like a funny story or like encounter that you've had at Walmart.
Okay.
Because you know, Walmart seems to be the place that anything under the sun tends to happen
Yes and yes. Okay.
at.
Um, so there's actually a couple funny stories. There was this one time we were over in the deli. So I work in the garden center area,
Mm.
and we were over in the deli, and we were stocking the meat on the shelf. I'd never done this before, and some older man walks up to me and he goes, "Do you have a better cut of meat than this?" And it was like a T-bone. It's like I honestly have no idea. Let me go look for you. And I grab 2 T-bones and I turn around. He's in the freezer with me, and I'm like, "Sir, what are you doing?" And he's like, I'm coming back here to look with you. You acted like you didn't know what a T-bone cut was. It's like I really don't, but I could just take him out for you so you can look at him. And he was like, No, it's fine. Where are they at? I'll come look in here. And I was like, No, sir, you can't be back here. You have to leave. And
Yeah.
so I got my manager, and she didn't tell him to leave, but he stood outside the door and waited until I came out with the T-bones. And he didn't buy a T-bone. He left, and
Oh, that's cute.
I was like, yeah, that's great. But then there's always been like up at the front. There's always been funny stories about that. With like there was a little boy that it was oh okay another one. I was mixing paint over in the sporting goods area, like the
Mm.
hardware part, and there was this little boy with Down syndrome, and he wanted to help me mix the paint. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, bro. Like I got it all set for him, and I'll let him watch the paint, the different colors fall into the paint can, and he was just fascinated. He's like, watch this. This is gonna blow your mind. And I throw it into the mixer, and the mixer starts shaking it. He's starting to make a beat while it's mixing, and he complimented my shoes, and I was like, man, it was just he was just the sweetest little boy,
Yeah.
and that was what was nice for me. It was like it gave me that was a rougher day, and it gave me a sigh of relief that you know,
Yeah.
I'm still human. It's no big deal. Like, but that was good for me. And honestly, that kid made my day. That's my favorite story to tell people about
Yeah.
is that kid, little boy with Down syndrome who helped me mix paint.
So what do you have a particular memory that you've had with your new friends at Greenwood you'd like to talk about?
Um, I want to say just almost last summer. I hung out with them every single day of the week last summer. The very first time me, Brayson, and Hudson hung out as a group,
Yeah.
like as that little like that dynamic trio, was we or no, we didn't play softball. We played sand volleyball. That's what we did. We went to the courts up at Bell.
Yeah.
So hot. I don't know why they chose to go in the middle of the day, but they were like,
Oh.
let's go play sand volleyball." And I was like, "Why not?" I'd never played sand volleyball before, and it was extremely awkward. Like I didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to say. They were like, "So, Texas, huh?" I was like, "Yep." And they just like kept trying to break the ice, and I'm an awkward person at first, but like once I like warm up to you, it starts to become like I yap your ear off kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they were super easy to grow around and become comfortable with, and that's where it took off. And we all started hanging out like every day. We would just do the dumbest stuff. We'd play pickleball. We'd go to the mall. We'd go play FIFA tournament at Hudson's house. Like we just had a blast. It was those are if I have a million stories, but if I were to pick one, that would be the one.
Well, I guess we need to like just get all of y'all here at this table
Yeah,
one week, and y'all can just talk
that would
about
be a good idea.
all those stories.
I don't know. We get ourselves in trouble though.
I mean, hey, well, I mean, what's there to lose at that point? But I remember one of our first conversations was arguing over I know it was U of A, and was it Bama?
No,
or was it
yes,
Kentucky?
yes. It was Bama. It was a Bama football game, was it not? You went to the Bama football game? Or no, it was
I was
basketball.
working
It
the
was
U of A basketball game.
It was the
Because I was
basketball.
in the control room and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
posted
yeah, yeah,
pictures
yeah.
in the control
And
room.
didn't no Arkansas lost to Bama that night, right? I can't remember. I think so. I think Bama won against Arkansas because y'all were.
It would have been a girls' game.
Oh no, then
Because I worked one men's
Arkansas
game this
must
year.
have won that. Arkansas must have won that because Bama. I don't think Bama's girls basketball is any good. But
I don't know. But I do remember you slid up on one story about it was men's basketball and Arkansas was like getting cooked.
yes,
And you were like, well,
yes.
this is why I don't watch this.
Okay, so let me add on to that. So Hudson, biggest Razorback fan I've ever met. His whole family loves the Razorbacks. When I first moved here, okay, that is the thing I like.
This is turned into a whole podcast, but you talking about poor Hudson.
I don't like the Razorbacks. I don't like the Razorbacks. I don't like the Razorbacks. I never will. The thing with that is like I had moved here first day of school. What was his name? Corbin something. He called the Hogs during lunch. I was like, absolutely not. I didn't know what that was at first. So everybody started doing it. I was like, what's going on? Everybody's like, oh, he's calling the Hogs. I'm like, what Hogs? Where are they coming from? And they were like, oh, the Razorbacks, bro. I was like, no, that's weird. Like, and that was
well,
it.
I mean,
that
we're
was
from
it
Texas. Like, it's kind of the same thing. It's like the horns down thing. Like,
yeah,
same thing.
saw them off. But yeah, I can't stand Texas either. I'm a Texas Tech fan, and
I guess you don't like any SEC school.
I love Texas Tech. Like I don't like any other school except for Texas Tech. Like any other school.
No.
I am a diehard fan. It is like, and it's hard because we always lose. But back to the Bama and Arkansas game, you had told me that you didn't like. You kind of liked Arkansas, but you kind of didn't at the same time.
Well, I just feel like they're never consistent.
Right.
Like consistent across where like they can play gymnastics. Well, not play. They can do gymnastics. I mean, track is good. Baseball is phenomenal. But then basketball, we were doing great. And then I think it was this year we beat. I think it was Kentucky. And then we just fell off the cliff.
Or no, y'all beat.
It was either Tennessee or Kentucky.
Duke. Y'all beat Duke.
Oh, was it? I'm thinking of last year because last year we beat Tennessee and I was at that game and it was wild.
In men's basketball this year, I thought y'all were going to be really, really good because y'all beat Duke. Yeah,
and then we fell off the cliff.
Yeah, and then y'all just.
And I was like, no. And I remember. I'm like positive that I told you this is Musselman's last year, and you're like, nah, like he's not going to go anywhere. I was like, he's gone because
he had a bunch of Elite Eight. He had a bunch of Elite Eight appearances. So I mean, I was like, why would he leave when he's had success? But
and then I mean, football's a whole different whole
Don't
different
get me
story.
started
But
on
you know,
football. Oh
hey,
my
maybe I'm
goodness.
hoping there's some hope this year with where we're going. But
I know.
maybe not. Maybe we'll see like a big turnaround if we get some
This is a
Greenwood
huge hot
seniors
take.
going up there.
Huge hot take.
Maybe.
Get rid of Sam Pittman. Get rid of Sam Pittman. Get rid of Sam Pittman. Terrible play calling. No, get rid of Sam Pittman. Texas Tech football though, losing Oklahoma and Texas, they're Big 12 champions this year. They're Big 12 champions. We've got a 5-star receiver, and we have Joey McGuire, best coach in the league right now, best coach in the world, I'd say.
Well, I think Arkansas might need some
no.
of that love.
Don't even get me started on basketball. Goodness, you remember when I would post all the time about like Texas Tech basketball, or like I'd be like heartbroken when they lost.
No, it's Texas Tech.
But I'd be
so much better than that.
How? Who?
Well, it was Arkansas.
K-State? Like, no. Yeah. But
well,
like,
ever since the College World Series for baseball,
Texas Tech won it like 8 years ago, and they haven't been good since. Because they lose all their.
I need to do a whole episode on that one because I have so many opinions to.
Because A&M's trash.
But I mean, you got Tennessee now, but then that whole thing, you know,
so
it's crazy.
It's so dumb. I'm jealous about how the SEC like rules all of college sports. Like every single sport, they just dominate. Like basketball, football, baseball. What else? No, not in soccer. That's ACC. But I mean, they dominate in every field. Like gymnastics, swimming.
It's crazy.
Swimming is crazy. Texas is like the best at swimming, and they're gonna go to the SEC, and they're gonna win again for like the 8th year in a row.
Yet here you are in Arkansas.
Yep.
So what went on with the debating on college sports?
What do you mean?
For what you... I have on here that you wanted to discuss debating on college sports.
Because I love college sports. I love college sports. We used to be season ticket holders in Texas to go to Texas Tech football games, and I just had buddies back in Texas who were like Texas fans, Kansas fans, OU fans, a lot of OU fans. Oh my goodness, OU fans like crazy. Kansas State fans, like you would just have a big melting pot, and all you would do at lunch is just argue about who's better. And you're like, we haven't even played yet. Like, just let the season play out, and then we'll say who's better in the end. But also, like, at lunch here, we had fantasy football.
Oh my gosh, that whole thing.
And we bet on the college games. We would bet on the pro games, and like that just got me hooked in even more. Like I was just like, I'm in love with this. This is my second hobby. Like, other than soccer, I love college sports. I love watching football, soccer, whatever it is, like, because they play with passion. They don't play for the money. Well, they do now, but not back then.
Yeah.
Not back then. Like, probably like 5-6 years ago, they weren't playing for the money. They were playing because they wanted to win the chip. That was what I liked. I really liked that they were leaving it all out there instead of just like working for a paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. How have you been keeping yourself busy, and how's the transition for college going?
I've been working a lot. I've also been getting back into the gym recently. Before I moved here, I was really into the gym. And then I moved here, and I didn't really have the time because of my job and soccer and all that. So that's been keeping me busy too. But it's just really been sleeping, working, and going to the gym. I mean, I've done a couple things for UFIS here and there, but other than that,
that's where you're going to school at, right?
Yeah, I'll be majoring in psychology, so hopefully I can do that and then go to UCA and hopefully finish there. But that's just what's been keeping me busy. Is like I've just been. When I say working, I've been working.
Yeah.
Like I have like 38-hour weeks where like I barely have enough time to do anything else. Paying bills and stuff. It's difficult. It's weird too. Life out of high school, like I barely have time to hang out.
You're not a little. Yeah. You're not a kid anymore.
Yeah, I pay taxes now. Like what? Like 2 years ago, I would have asked myself, like, are you ready to be an adult and pay your taxes and do all this and that? No way, no way. As soon as I turn 18, it hits me. I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
this is real. This is real
Yeah.
life. And then
Yeah.
I got my tax return. It's like $40. It's like, nice, bro. Like, sick. And that's, I mean, yeah, that's kind of just what I've been doing recently is working, going to the gym, and been hanging out with, more recently I've been hanging out with my friends again, but that's just because the transition into school.
Yeah.
I've been giving myself more time to do whatever.
Mhm.
Like I have today off and tomorrow off, but mainly because I'm doing college things, but wish I wasn't, but yeah,
Something that has to get done at some
exactly,
point.
yeah.
So,
Yep, exactly.
well, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Table Talk, and hopefully we'll see you back on here again discussing another topic.
It was great. Thank you for having me.
Make sure you tune in for the next episode of the Table Talk, and we'll see you guys later.